First contact. The signal came on a quiet Tuesday, 3 decades after humanity had established their first permanent settlements beyond the solar system. Dr. Sarah Chen sat in her office at the Titan listening array, staring at the pattern of pulses that danced across her holographic display. After 15 years of scanning the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, she had learned to distinguish between the random noise of stellar phenomena and something more deliberate. This was different. This was structured. Computer, run a comparative analysis against all known human transmission patterns, she commanded, her fingers dancing across the haptic interface. The response came almost immediately. No match found. The signal's complexity suggested an artificial origin, but its structure was unlike anything in humanity's extensive database of communication protocols. Sarah's heart raced as she initiated the standard first contact protocols. Within hours, the observation deck of the Titan array was filled with the top minds in xenolinguistics and communication theory. The signal, they discovered, was coming from what appeared to be a dormant space station at the edge of the Carina Nebula, previously dismissed as natural space debris. The United Earth Council didn't waste time. Within weeks, they had commissioned the Starship Horizon, equipped with the most advanced translation and communication systems humanity had ever developed. Sarah found herself appointed as the mission's chief linguist, alongside Captain Marcus Rodriguez, a veteran of deep space exploration. As the Horizon approached the station, its true scale became apparent. The structure was massive, easily dwarfing humanity's largest space installations. Its architecture defied conventional engineering principles, with impossible angles and surfaces that seemed to bend light itself. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered, standing at the bridge's observation window. The station's surface was covered in what appeared to be circuits or writing, glowing with a faint blue luminescence that pulsed in rhythm with the signal they detected. Captain Rodriguez's voice cut through her reverie. "Dr. Chen, we're within range for a detailed scan. Are you ready to attempt communication?" Sarah nodded, moving to her station. The translation matrix she'd developed during their journey was their best chance at meaningful contact. She began broadcasting their carefully crafted first contact message, a combination of mathematical principles and basic linguistic patterns designed to demonstrate intelligence and peaceful intent. The response was immediate and unexpected. The station's glow intensified, and a beam of light shot out, scanning their ship from bow to stern. Before anyone could react, a voice filled the bridge, not through their communication systems, but directly in their minds. "At last," it said, in perfect English, though everyone present later reported hearing it in their native language. "You have finally arrived." The voice belonged to what introduced itself as the Architect, an artificial consciousness created by a long-vanished civilization. It explained that the station was one of many seeds scattered across the galaxy, waiting for species that showed the right combination of technological advancement and ethical development. "Your journey here was not by chance," the Architect continued. "The signal was designed to be detected only by civilizations that had mastered both the technical challenges of deep space communication and the social challenges of unified planetary cooperation." Sarah felt a mix of awe and trepidation. "What is your purpose?" she asked, her voice steadied despite her racing heart. "I am a guardian of knowledge, a keeper of secrets that could either elevate or destroy a civilization," the Architect replied. "My creators understood that technology without wisdom leads to destruction. They tasked me with finding worthy successors to their legacy." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "And you think we might be worthy?" "That remains to be seen," the Architect responded. "You have passed the first test by reaching this place, but there are more trials ahead. The question is not just whether you can access this knowledge, but whether you should." As the implications of the Architect's words sank in, Sarah realized that humanity stood at a crossroads. They had sought evidence of alien life, hoping to find companions among the stars. Instead, they had found something far more profound: a test, a challenge, and perhaps a chance to prove that humanity deserved a place among the cosmos' greatest civilizations. The architect's presence filled their minds once more. Your species is young, but I sense potential in you. You have developed remarkable technology while maintaining your capacity for empathy and creativity. These qualities are rare and precious. Sarah exchanged glances with Captain Rodriguez. They both understood that whatever came next would change humanity forever. The real question was whether they were ready for what the architect had in store for them. "We accept your challenge," Sarah declared, speaking not just for herself or the crew, but for all of humanity. "We're ready to prove ourselves worthy." The architect's response carried a hint of what might have been approval. "Then let the trials begin. Remember, what you learn here will determine not just your fate, but the fate of countless civilizations to come." As the station's lights pulsed with renewed intensity, Sarah couldn't help but feel that humanity had just taken its first step into a much larger universe. The true test of their species' character was about to begin. The trial. The first trial began without warning. As the crew of the Horizon watched, the space around the ancient station seemed to fold in on itself, creating a pocket of altered reality that enveloped their ship. Sarah Chen felt her stomach lurch as familiar physical laws twisted and changed. "All systems functioning normally," reported Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka from her engineering station, though her voice carried a note of uncertainty. "But the readings don't make sense. It's as if we're experiencing multiple timelines simultaneously." The architect's presence filled their minds once more. "Your first trial concerns understanding. Many species before you have mastered the manipulation of matter and energy, but few have grasped the responsibility such power brings. Observe." The void around them transformed into a vast three-dimensional display of a civilization's rise and fall. Sarah and the crew witnessed as a species, not unlike humans in their drive and ambition, discovered the secrets of manipulating quantum reality. They watched as this civilization reshaped worlds, built impossible structures, and eventually tore itself apart in a war that reduced entire galaxy clusters to primal atomic soup. "This is not merely history," the architect explained. "This is a choice you may face. Your species stands at a similar crossroads. Show me how you would handle such power." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "How do we prove ourselves? What are you asking us to do?" "You will be presented with a series of scenarios. Each represents a real choice made by civilizations that came before. You must show not just what you would choose, but why." The first scenario materialized around them. The bridge of the horizon became the controlled center of a massive terraforming operation. Before them lay a planet teeming with primitive life, but perfect for human colonization. The simulation provided them with the power to accelerate or redirect the planet's evolution, or to eliminate its existing biosphere entirely. Sarah watched as her crewmates wrestled with the implications. The easiest solution would be to simply wipe the slate clean and reshape the planet to human needs. It would save time, resources, and guarantee success. But as she studied the primitive life forms, she saw potential in them. The first flickering of consciousness, the same spark that had once existed in humanity's own evolutionary ancestors. "We reject the premise of this choice," she declared suddenly, surprising even herself. "The question isn't whether we should destroy or redirect this life, but how we can coexist with it. Our strength lies not in domination, but in adaptation and cooperation." The architect's presence rippled with something that felt like curiosity. "Explain." Captain Rodriguez picked up Sarah's thread of thought. "Look at humanity's own history. Our greatest achievements came not from conquering nature, but from understanding and working with it. We learned to build floating cities rather than destroy marine ecosystems. We developed orbital habitats instead of terraforming everything in sight. True power lies in finding solutions that elevate everyone, not just ourselves." The scenario shifted, presenting ever more complex challenges. The crew faced decisions about uplifting primitive species, preventing natural extinctions, and managing the development of artificial intelligence. Each time, they sought solutions that preserved life's complexity while finding ways for humanity to thrive alongside it. Hours stretched into days as the trials continued. The architect presented them with moral dilemmas that had destroyed civilizations far more advanced than humanity. They faced questions about the nature of consciousness, the rights of artificial beings, and the responsibility of wielding galaxy-shaping power. Through it all, Sarah noticed a pattern emerging in their responses. While other species had often sought to impose their will upon the universe, humanity's solutions consistently focused on integration, adaptation, and preservation of diversity. Even in situations where they had the power to remake reality according to their desires, they chose instead to find ways to exist within it, while minimizing their impact on others. "Your approach is unexpected," the architect commented after a particularly challenging scenario involving the prevention of a galaxy-wide dark energy cascade. Most species seek to demonstrate their worthiness through displays of power or technical prowess. You consistently choose the more difficult path of coexistence and preservation. "That's because we've learned from our own history," Sarah explained. "Humanity's greatest mistakes came from believing we could control everything. Our greatest triumphs came from learning to be part of something bigger than ourselves." The architect's presence seemed to deepen, its attention focusing more intensely on the humans before it. "Perhaps," it said, "you are ready for the truth about my creators and the real purpose of these trials." The simulated reality around them began to fade, but the tension in the air only increased. They had passed the first set of trials, but Sarah sensed that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The real test wasn't just about proving humanity's worth. It was about determining whether they were ready to bear the burden of knowledge that had destroyed civilizations far greater than their own. As the bridge of the horizon resumed its normal appearance, Sarah caught Captain Rodriguez's eye. They both understood that whatever came next would challenge not just their intelligence or technology, but the very foundations of what humanity believed about their place in the universe. Legacy of the stars. The architect's next revelation came not as words or images, but as pure understanding, flooding into their minds with crystalline clarity. The crew of the Horizon found themselves experiencing the memories of a civilization that had reached heights humanity had barely dreamed of. They were the predecessors, born in the universe's youth when the stars still burned hot and blue. They had mastered the fundamental forces of reality, reshaped worlds at will, and spread their influence across millions of galaxies. But their greatest achievement wasn't their technology. It was their understanding of life itself. "My creators," the architect explained, "discovered something profound about the universe, something that changed everything they believed about existence." Through the shared memory, Sarah and the crew witnessed the predecessor's discovery. The universe wasn't just a collection of matter and energy. It was a vast, interconnected web of consciousness. Every species, every civilization that achieved sentience added its own unique thread to this cosmic tapestry. The diversity of thought, of perspective, of way of being, wasn't just valuable. It was essential to the universe's continued evolution. But with this knowledge came a terrible burden, the architect continued. They realized that technological advancement alone wasn't enough. Without wisdom, without understanding of one's place in the greater whole, species would inevitably destroy themselves and damage the very fabric of consciousness they were part of. Captain Rodriguez watched as the memory shifted, showing the predecessor's response to this discovery. They began creating the seeds, stations like the one they now encountered, each containing an architect. These weren't mere repositories of technology. They were guardians of a greater truth, waiting for species mature enough to understand it. But something went wrong, didn't it? Sarah asked, sensing a deeper tragedy in the shared memory. Yes, the architect's presence carried a weight of ancient sorrow. The predecessors encountered something they couldn't overcome, not an external threat, but a consequence of their own mastery over reality. The memory shifted again, showing the predecessors' final days. Their manipulation of fundamental forces had created a cascade effect, a breakdown in the fabric of space-time itself. They had become too powerful, too removed from the natural flow of the universe. Rather than risk destroying everything, they made a choice. They withdrew, the architect explained. They used their remaining power to step outside of normal spacetime, becoming observers rather than participants. But before they did, they left us, the architects, to find worthy successors, species that could learn from their mistakes and carry forward their understanding without repeating their errors. Lieutenant Tanaka spoke up, her voice quiet but steady. "How many species have you tested before us?" "Thousands," the architect replied. "Some showed great promise but ultimately failed. Others recognized the responsibility but feared it too much to accept it. A few tried to seize the knowledge by force. They did not survive the attempt." Sarah felt the weight of history pressing down on her. "And humanity? What makes us different? You understand something intuitively that many species never grasp. In all your solutions to the trials, you demonstrated it. The power to change reality is not as important as the wisdom to know when not to use that power. You seek to adapt yourselves to the universe rather than bend it to your will." The memory share shifted one final time, showing them a vision of humanity's potential future. They saw human civilization spreading through the cosmos not as conquerors or transformers, but as preservers and cultivators of diversity. They witnessed humans working alongside other species, building bridges between different forms of consciousness, adding their own unique perspective to the universal tapestry, while helping others do the same. "But this is only one possible future," the architect cautioned, "and achieving it will require facing challenges greater than any humanity has encountered before. The knowledge we offer brings with it tremendous responsibility." Captain Rodriguez straightened his shoulders. "What exactly are you asking of us?" "To become guardians yourselves, to help protect and nurture the development of consciousness throughout the galaxy, to preserve the knowledge of the predecessors while avoiding their mistakes, but most importantly, to maintain your humanity while doing so." Sarah understood the implications immediately. "You don't want us to become like the predecessors, do you? You want us to find a new way." "Precisely. The predecessor's path led to power, but also to isolation. Humanity has shown the potential to forge a different path, one that embraces connection over domination, diversity over uniformity, and wisdom over mere knowledge." The crew of the Horizon stood in silence, absorbing the magnitude of what they were being offered. This wasn't just about acquiring advanced technology or ancient knowledge. It was about accepting a role in the galaxy's development, becoming guardians of life's infinite possibilities while remaining true to their own nature. "Before you decide," the architect said, "there is something else you must know. A truth about the current state of the galaxy, and a threat that even the predecessors feared. Are you prepared to learn more?" Sarah looked at Captain Rodriguez, who nodded grimly. They had come too far to turn back now. Whatever revelations awaited them, humanity would face them together. The choice, the architect's next revelation, hit them like a physical force. The crew of the Horizon found themselves witnessing something that defied comprehension. Vast regions of space where the very fabric of reality was unraveling, where the complex tapestry of consciousness they had just learned about was being systematically destroyed. "We call them the void cascades," the architect explained. "They are spreading, consuming everything in their path. Not just matter and energy, but consciousness itself. The very thing that makes the universe aware of its own existence is being erased." Through the shared vision, they saw entire galaxies going dark, not through physical destruction, but through a more fundamental kind of death, the extinction of possibility itself. In these regions, new consciousness could never arise again. The universe's capacity for thought and awareness was being permanently diminished. The predecessors discovered the cascades just before their withdrawal. The architect continued. "They are not natural phenomena. They are weapons created by something that exists in opposition to consciousness itself. We call them the entropy mines." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as the vision shifted, showing them glimpses of the enemy. The entropy mines weren't beings in any conventional sense, but rather patterns of anti-consciousness, viral ideas that spread through reality, converting order into chaos, thought into emptiness. Your civilization stands at a crucial junction, the architect said. The knowledge we offer could help you fight this threat, but using it would fundamentally change humanity. The power required to combat the void cascades would transform you into something very different from what you are now. Captain Rodriguez's voice was steady despite the weight of the revelation. What kind of change are we talking about? The vision shifted again, showing them two possible futures. In one, humanity accepted the full power of the predecessor's knowledge, evolving into beings of pure energy and thought, capable of fighting the entropy minds on their own level. They would be incredibly powerful, but would lose much of what made them human. Their connection to physical existence, their capacity for growth through limitation, their unique perspective on reality. In the other future, humanity chose a different path, using only the knowledge they could integrate while remaining true to their nature. They would be less powerful, but would maintain their humanity, finding new ways to fight the threat that didn't require sacrificing their essence. This is the true choice before you, the architect explained. Not whether to accept the responsibility, but how to bear it. The predecessors chose power over preservation of self, and in doing so, lost something precious. You must decide if you will do the same. Lieutenant Tanaka spoke up, her voice thoughtful. But isn't the threat too great? If these void cascades are as dangerous as you say, don't we need the full power to fight them? The architect's presence rippled with what felt like approval of the question. That is the paradox. The power needed to fight this enemy directly is the very thing that may make you vulnerable to becoming like them. The predecessors discovered this too late. In reaching for ultimate power, they began to lose the very qualities that made them worthy of it. Sarah had been quiet, processing the implications. "There's something you're not telling us," she said finally. "Something about why you're really testing us this way." Perceptive, the architect acknowledged. "Yes, we believe that the solution to the void cascades lies not in matching their power, but in finding a fundamentally different approach. The predecessor's way failed. Perhaps humanity's unique perspective, your ability to adapt and find unexpected solutions, is exactly what is needed." Captain Rodriguez paced the bridge, his mind racing with the implications. "So you're saying that our weakness, our limited nature, our need to work within constraints, might actually be our strength?" Precisely. The entropy minds represent the ultimate expression of power without limitation. Perhaps they can only be defeated by beings who understand the value of limits, who can find strength in working within natural boundaries rather than breaking them. The crew of the Horizon looked at each other, the weight of the choice heavy in the air. They weren't just deciding for themselves, but for all of humanity, and perhaps for the future of consciousness itself in their part of the universe. "We need time," Sarah said finally. "This isn't a decision we can make alone. We need to consult with Earth, with all of humanity." "Time is one thing we may not have much of," the architect warned. "The cascades are spreading. Already they have consumed 12 galaxies in your local cluster. Soon they will reach the edges of human space. Then we'll make the time," Captain Rodriguez declared. "If humanity's strength lies in our ability to find unexpected solutions, we need to trust in that. We'll face this threat our way, together, as humans, making our decisions as a species." The architect's presence seemed to soften. "Then perhaps you understand more than I first thought. But know this, whatever humanity decides, the knowledge we offer comes with a price. The question is not whether you will pay it, but what currency you choose to pay in." As the vision faded and the bridge of the Horizon returned to normal, Sarah realized that their real trial was just beginning. They had to find a way to save the universe while remaining true to themselves, and they had to do it before the void cascades reached human space. The fate of consciousness itself hung in the balance, and humanity's greatest test was about to begin. Guardians of tomorrow. The decision, when it came, was not made in the grand halls of the United Earth Council or in secret military installations, but in countless conversations across human space. For 3 months, humanity debated, argued, and soul-searched. The crew of the Horizon had transmitted their experiences back to Earth, and the architect had allowed its message to be shared with all of humanity. Sarah stood at the observation window of the Horizon, watching the ancient station pulse with its ethereal light. Behind her, holographic displays showed the ongoing discussions taking place across human civilization. Scientists, philosophers, leaders, and ordinary citizens all contributed their voices to what had become the most important decision in human history. "They're ready," Captain Rodriguez said, entering the bridge. "Every colony, every settlement, every station has reported in. We have humanity's answer." The architect's presence filled their minds once more. "Speak, then. What is humanity's choice?" Sarah stepped forward, chosen as humanity's voice for this moment. "We choose a third path," she declared. "Neither full transformation nor limited acceptance of your knowledge. We propose something new." Through their shared mental connection, she began to explain humanity's solution. They had examined the nature of the void cascades and realized something fundamental. The entropy mines succeeded because they attacked reality on a single level, breaking down the barriers between dimensions and states of being. "But consciousness doesn't exist on just one level," Sarah continued. "You showed us that it's a tapestry, with each species, each civilization adding their own unique thread. So we propose to fight the cascades not by becoming more powerful, but by becoming more connected." The plan was audacious. Instead of transforming into beings of pure energy, humanity would use the predecessor's knowledge to create a network of consciousness, a living web of minds that could span galaxies while allowing each species, each individual, to maintain their unique nature. "We call it the cognition web," Lieutenant Tanaka explained, pulling up complex technical diagrams. "It would allow us to coordinate across vast distances, sharing knowledge and resources while preserving our individual perspectives. Each participating species would remain true to their nature while contributing to a greater whole." The architect's presence rippled with something that felt like surprise. "You would share this power, even with species that might one day compete with you." "That's exactly the point," Captain Rodriguez said. "The entropy mines represent the ultimate expression of isolation, the death of diversity. We propose to fight them with its opposite, infinite diversity in infinite combinations, all working together." Through their mental link, they share humanity's complete vision. The cognition web would not just be a defense against the void cascades. It would be a new way of existing in the universe. Species could join voluntarily, contributing their unique perspectives and abilities while maintaining their autonomy. The combined knowledge and creativity of thousands of civilizations would generate solutions that no single species could conceive of alone. "And humanity's role in this?" the architect asked. "We would be facilitators," Sarah explained. "Not rulers or guardians in the traditional sense, but builders of bridges between different forms of consciousness. We would use our adaptability and creativity to help species find their place in the web, to help translate between different ways of thinking and being." The vision expanded, showing how the web would grow and evolve. Unlike the predecessor's solitary power, this would be strength through unity. Each new species joining would strengthen the whole, creating an ever-growing barrier against the spread of the void cascades. "There is risk in this path," the architect warned. "The cognition web would make all participants vulnerable to each other. One corrupted node could spread chaos throughout the system." "We've thought of that," Lieutenant Tanaka said. "The web would be based on quantum entanglement principles we discovered in your archives, modified by our own research into consciousness transfer. Each node would remain fundamentally separate while being connected, unity without uniformity." For a long moment, the architect was silent. When it spoke again, its mental voice carried a new tone, something almost like hope. "In all the eons I have waited, in all the species I have tested, none have proposed such a solution. You seek to fight entropy not by becoming more powerful, but by making power itself more distributed. It is elegant. The station's lights pulsed with new patterns, and the crew felt the architect's approval wash over them. Very well. I will share with you the knowledge you need to begin this endeavor. But remember, this path you have chosen will not be easy. You will face resistance, both from those who fear connection and those who desire power for themselves. Sarah smiled. We're counting on it. The challenges we face in building the web will help us refine and improve it. That's the human way. We grow through adversity. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. So what's our first step? First, the architect said, we must prepare humanity for its new role. The knowledge you need will take years to fully integrate, even with your innovative approach, and we must begin reaching out to other species, finding those ready to join the web. The bridge of the horizon filled with new light as the architect began the transfer of knowledge. But this time, it wasn't overwhelming or transformative. Instead, it felt like the opening of doors, the revelation of possibilities that humanity could explore and develop in their own way and time. As the first data began to flow, Sarah realized that this wasn't an ending, but a beginning. Humanity had chosen not just to survive, but to thrive through connection and cooperation. They would face the void cascades not as gods or guardians, but as weavers of a new kind of cosmic consciousness, one that could preserve and protect the infinite diversity of thought that made the universe truly alive. The stars seemed to shine brighter as the horizon began its journey home, carrying with it the seeds of humanity's greatest adventure. The age of isolation was ending. The age of connection was about to begin.